guys, so in today's video I'm lucky enough to have brought home some brand new reptiles, a species I've wanted to have for a very long time. I've managed to bring home some beautiful little Egernia, very similar to my depressor. These guys are what's known as Egernia epsisolus. They're basically a red version of the depressor, and they are one of the coolest little skinks you'll ever come across. So I got 3 of these little guys. They are so cute. They're almost full grown, much like the depressor. They stay extremely small. These 2 over here are actually in sheds, so they're not as red as they're gonna be. This guy is a very light individual. He's got not much banding or patterning as well. They are just such gorgeous little animals. Make great pets, just like the depressor, because again, they're very small size. They're quite friendly. They're not a bitey animal. Not really an animal to hold either, but they are just really cool to watch, interact and do their thing. They live in little family groups in the wild, in between rock crevices and things like that. So it means they get along quite well together if they all know each other and they are part of that family group. And then they're just one of the coolest little animals.
So I'm not actually sure on the sexes of these guys at the moment. These species can be quite hard to tell, but it does look like there is some different tail sizes and head thicknesses and things, which is how I usually tell the difference between my depressor. So fingers crossed we've got a compatible pair at least in here, but if not, as long as they all get along, I really don't mind. They are just such a cool species. I don't mind if they're just some pets for me.
Now I have just set up this new big display rack which fits 3 of the 60 by 60 by 45 Exoterras in line, and it is really a cool display. Now this species comes from Western Australia, just like everything else on here. My pygmy python, my Egernia depressor, and now my Egernia epsisolus are going in this tank here. So I'm going to take you back and show you exactly how I set this up, because this is now one of my favorite setups I have in the whole house. And so once again for this exhibit, I'm going to be using one of these printed backgrounds from my friend Luke over at Beach's Scaly Beasts and from Bush to Box. And it's going to look absolutely incredible. So once again, I can't thank Luke enough for offering these backgrounds and having a really good option to add into these enclosures. It's a really good instant effect. It's made from really tough vinyl that's also UV resistant, and all you have to do is peel off the backing, use a little card or something like that to squeegee it on to remove all the air bubbles, and if you take a bit of time with it and work from one end to the other, you can do a really amazing job. It's very simple. And what's also special about this background is the fact that this is a photo I've taken myself while I was out herping. I like the habitat, took a photo, and Luke printed it. Wow, that one went in much easier than the first one I did. Definitely just takes a little bit of practice. Also really helped to cut down the excess edges so it would fit in nice and flush before even starting. And yeah, I had no problems with that one. That was really good. Didn't take long at all. Alright, for substrate, once again we're going to be using some real rocky red desert sand to match the natural theme of where these guys come from. Look at that, I think that'll blend in perfectly with the background. Now that the substrate's in, I'm going to make a little rock pile, sort of mimic the background right here to go under their basking spot. Now I've got a few rocks like these that are pretty reminiscent of the ones in the background, but I am in pretty short supply of those. So I do also have a couple of these good, I believe it's granite, sort of slate bits, but unfortunately they're more of a grey colour. But the texture on it is almost identical to the stuff in the background. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to attempt to paint these and make it all match together. And I think it should give a really good effect, and I can stack these up for the lizards to hide between. So let's give that a go. So here I've got a bit of a paint mix of some different oranges, terracotta, and some sandstone oxide powder. So these ones are just drying now. Let's see how they end up.
So there you can see the difference so far. These have only had about 2 or 3 different sprays with this watered down paint mix. And wow, it's actually coming up even better than I thought. These look so legit. Some of the darker colors from the granite are still staying underneath, so it has that really good mix coming through. And then yeah, compared to that, it's night and day. So you can see underneath here, completely different. That's what we want.
All right, sometimes you get an idea and it might work, and other times you get an idea and it just works so much better than you ever imagined.
Tell you what, I don't think you're gonna get any closer than that as far as trying to replicate those rocks. Look at the texture and everything. It's all here. It's amazing what a little bit of paint and time and creativity can actually do. So I'm beyond happy with that. The camera makes it look a bit more different than it is as far as color, but in person it is, you can kind of see there now, it is pretty well exactly the same. So cool. Lizards are gonna look so good on this. So let's stop talking and start building this rock stack. This species, of course, likes to live within rock crevices. So I've just gone outside, found a small piece of sandstone that just happened to have quite nice red and orange colors to it, and basically just smashed it apart with a hammer. And so now I've got some little pieces which I can hopefully use to wedge in between the different layers of stone and make some little gaps for the lizards to sit in. Okay, our rock stack is done and I'm very happy. It's very solid. Lots of different points for the lizards to go underneath and hide. And then of course they can bask right on top as well, and it really matches in with that background. Again, the color of the rock doesn't show up as well on the camera, but if you have a look, like it's really, really close. In person it looks part of the whole mix, which is exactly what you're going for with these printed backgrounds. Now I'm going to keep it quite simple in here. This is pretty much going to be the setup. I'm just going to put a little water bowl in the front, but of course I can't forget to put in a bit of plants. So I'm just going to put some plants in the back corner to match with the background here, maybe a couple over the other side too, and hopefully that'll look nice. So here's my new beautiful little lizards. These guys are just stunning. Just look at the colors on them, their little cute faces. Well, let's not keep them waiting any longer, let's put them in. Perfectly these guys blend in with those rocks. They're such a stunning species. One's already darted off somewhere underneath. So cool. It didn't take these guys very long at all to realize they have all these different hiding spaces they can utilize between these rocks, and they really like to wedge themselves in there. As time goes on, it should hopefully make them be a little bit less shy, knowing that they have all these areas they can retreat to, which is much the same as what I did for my depressor. It actually made them come out a lot more knowing that they had all that security. So as you might have noticed, this whole section is actually new. I got one of these racks. This is one of the Racket brand racks from Bunnings, and it just fits 3 of these 60 by 60 exoterras. It was a very tight fit, so if you're thinking about doing it yourself, definitely investigate it a bit further. They are pretty much hanging off the edge here on either side, but they do just fit nice and snug, and it is such a cool little setup. Now underneath here, I am actually going to be replacing the western blue tongue enclosures with one big enclosure in the bottom here, which will be a nice little upgrade for them. And then additionally to this rack as well, I've obviously got my lamps and stuff sitting here at the moment, but I've actually put wheels on the bottom. I had to drill through specific holes and attach them, but it means this whole unit is going to be able to move around and be very easy to transfer between rooms and stuff like that. So it's an awesome new setup, and I'm stoked to have these new animals in here. So there you have it, guys. There's a quick little look at the brand new species, the beautiful Egernia epsisolus, one of the coolest reptiles on planet Earth if you ask me. Definitely one of the prettiest little skinks around. Now I'm hoping in time these guys should become more bold, be out, be active, and more fun videos in the future to come from them. So make sure you subscribe, stick around, keep an eye out, and we'll see you in the next one.